The G-Spot, a higher state of consciousness and non-stop shopping.
Hey everybody, welcome back to What the Hell Happened to Them? A title fight is brewing. That's right, this season, Eddie Murphy versus Jim Carrey. I am your host, Patrick Skeyhill, and joining me on the line is a man who loves a woman who always carries wet wipes, Joe Vekeman.
Yeah, that was a reference from this movie. I just remembered that one. Kelly Preston. Yeah, okay.
Not Carey Preston, like I got all excited about. My favorite lawyer from The Good Wife.
No, John Travolta's wife.
Yeah.
Former wife.
Well, that makes sense.
He's a widower?
Oh, I thought she was just like, I'm not doing the Scientology thing.
No, she died like 4 years ago.
So she was okay with the Scientology thing?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, Battlefield Earth, way to go, John.
They were married for a long time. 30 years.
Good for love. And on the audio boards is Lev Van Rensselaer reminding me to remind you that you can email the cast at whathappenedtothemcast@gmail.com. And our sponsor this week is AARP. You have a job interview coming up or a random drug screening at work? Well, then you need a fresh, uncontaminated batch of urine from America's finest elders. Only at AARP. That's P-E-E. All right, Joe, what movie are we doing this week?
Christ almighty. We watched Holy Man. Why? Why do we do this to ourselves?
And what the hell happens in Holy Man?
Well, an over-the-top television evangelist finds a way to turn television home shopping into a religious experience and takes America by storm.
That, like, he's not really a televangelist.
Yeah.
Right? They try to turn him into one to the Church of Commerce, a televangelist for consumption, but not really he's a pilgrim. You could call him a pilgrim. That's what he is.
Patrick, I just saw this comes in a 3-pack DVD of The Distinguished Gentleman, Holy Man, and Metro. Woof. Woof. When Metro is your best one in that pack?
There's all these 90s films of Eddie that nobody remembers or wants. Let's just combine them. I was surprised this movie had a Blu-ray because Simon Birch didn't.
You know what this movie also had?
Jeff Goldblum.
A wild John Cryer sighting.
John Cryer and Eric McCormick. It was like a who's who of sitcom stars that were about to pop off.
Jesus Christ, I didn't even realize that was him.
Yeah.
Because John Cryer looks nothing like he looks like bizarre in this with his like little goatee.
Yeah, it took me. I didn't even first couple times he was in there. I didn't even recognize him. I'm like, all right, where's John Cryer? I'm looking for that guy. And all of a sudden, I heard him speak, and I was like, what are you doing with that thing on your face? Get it off.
Shave it.
Yeah. We also had some cameos from the QVC salesmen. We had the mother from the Brady Bunch. Perhaps you missed her. She was selling like the suckin' pack or whatever it was called.
Uh-huh.
And then we had a cross-pollination between Eddie and Jim, because one of these sellers was also Dan Marino.
Dan Marino. Dan Marino is popping up in everything. He's been in Little Nicky, remember?
If you were in the 90s, you wanted Dan Marino in your movie.
Yeah. If you were a big comedy guy in the 90s, better grab Dan.
You got James Brown, who you think was cast, so like Eddie could like do his James Brown voice to him.
Yeah, something
like that. Nah, he was just there and gone quickly. We had Robert Loggia, who seemed like somebody that Whoopi would have dated in the 90s. Did that ever happen?
I fucking pray to God not, for Whoopi's sake. I don't think so.
All right.
He died at 85 in 2015. He was born in 1930. I mean, he's like, what, 20-something years on Whoopi? 25?
Whatever. It's just, all of her paramours have felt odd to me, so like I just wouldn't be surprised anymore, you know?
Yeah, but like Ted Danson's more of a contemporary.
And Frank Langella? I don't, it just...
Yeah, okay. I forgot about Frank Langella. Let's See that age gap. I mean, 8 years difference from Loja, so, you know. Okay, whatever.
You obviously didn't like the movie. I really wanted to like the movie.
How dare you? How dare you want to like this one?
I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, I'm like on board. I'm like, all right, Jeff Goldblum's being weird. I'm into that. And we're doing this home shopping network thing. That's kind of a neat idea, a neat arena to play in.
Yeah, do something with it.
I like Eddie Murphy's character. Like, I like that he's sort of kind of returned to this coming to America, just like bland optimism, just intense optimism. He's playing fun little word games. He's like, psych on your mind. I'm charmed here. I like this. And then, like, I don't know what happened. This felt like the vampire movie where maybe somebody thought they were doing a drama, but somebody else thought they were doing a comedy or a social satire or something. But if it's a comedy, it's extremely moody. It's like a really dark, dismal comedy in a lot of places. And if it's a drama, it's not a particularly poignant or interesting one, or on a script level, well-structured. It feels sort of like a big old bag of missed opportunities.
This movie was first in development in 1993, with John Candy cast as G. It was then put in developmental hell following the actor's death. This is the last movie from Eddie Murphy Productions.
Awkward.
According to his diaries, Alan Rickman turned down the role of Ricky.
Which I believe is Jeff Goldblum, correct? Oh, yes. How could I forget Jeff Goldblum, our other crossover with Jim Carrey this season?
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
He stayed on Earth, fell in love, and then decided to start selling random products to old people on TV.
We got one of these again. In June 2009, Eddie Murphy referred to this film as a horrendous movie. Although he did not identify the film by name, he mentioned it on The Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien. As a reference to the film, he starred in featuring a cameo as singer James Brown.
Right, the implication being that he just hasn't been in a lot of movies with James Brown, so it was easy to narrow down.
He talks shit about his movies all the time.
Eddie, why did you make him that? Like, I don't, at a certain point...
Oh, that one was dog shit.
Well, at least when he comes out, he's like, yeah, I did it for the money. Do we know how much this movie paid him? Do we know what the budget of this movie was?
I don't know how much they paid him. This movie cost $60 million, so probably his 15 or 20 million.
Yeah, okay. Well, then, all right, that's why he did it.
It made $27 million.
Yeah. This really feels like a hard one tomorrow. I saw the trailer of it.
God's gift to home shopping. The poster is Eddie... sitting cross-legged with the circle hands, and he's above a barcode.
Yeah, I like the poster. Like, that got me, like, I'm like, all right, I could be in for a fun ride here. And it started off fun enough, and then it almost felt like this just got, like, revised to hell or studio notes to hell, and maybe that was part of the development hell as they're trying to... I would be surprised, I guess, if this were the script that John Candy had.
Yeah, I can't imagine this with John Candy.
Not because he would say no to something like that, but just because, one, it doesn't seem to utilize him well, and two...
No.
I don't know. It doesn't... This feels like a Franken script in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I imagine you probably did some amount of rewriting once you brought Eddie on to take better advantage of what he can do.
Something, but there's like... I found no jokes.
I thought there were some jokes, especially at the expense of the shopping things.
In fact, my review, a laugh-free comedy. My favorite shitty review.
I mean, the false hope I got at the beginning was really my own fault because...
How dare you?
I knew going into this was like some Eddie movie from the 90s that I had never heard of. Clearly not. Mm-hmm. Right? Those ones have been Metro, Distinguished Gentleman, Vampire in Brooklyn. It's a who's of... So, why did I think this would be any different? But I'm like, maybe this will be the Finders Keeper, Eddie's Finders Keepers. What are we going to get here? We're having fun.
I don't know where that is for Eddie. I don't know if we're ever going to discover it. Maybe it's like Mr. Church or something.
Yeah. But this was the movie he was doing and couldn't do reshoots on something else, right? Was that we were reading about for like Dr. Dolittle or for Mulan or something?
Yeah.
Like he recorded his Mulan lines in the middle of shooting this movie?
Yes.
Okay. Which he shot in Florida, it looks like part of the time.
The only legacy this movie has for me was it was the movie that sat on my dad's DVD shelf in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And it was like he had like 10 DVDs and this was one of them. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's just the poster again.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a bigger version of like Eddie's head's like a little bigger, and then like, it's like got the barcode on it. My dad's never talked about this, and he usually like he watched a lot of movies, and he would just rent whatever was new or whatever. But like he bought it. It was like next to the Matrix, of, like his DVDs that he had, and I'm like, the fuck. And then I never had any like I never wanted to watch it. It was never like, oh, this one, let's put this one on. But like the Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps. Yeah, I watched that one.
Yeah, gross.
That was right next to it.
You know who I feel bad for in this movie is Jeff Goldblum, because he is acting way harder than this movie needs him to. He's like sincerely trying to be in the moment in every scene. Oh,
you mean kind of like you know, like... No.
I mean, those are his normal mannerisms. Like, you're expecting to get that when you're casting, but if you really look at his eyes, like, you can see his brain making decisions in real time in dealing with all these elements his character has to deal with. Like, he's really listening, and he's really being in the moment. And I'm like, dude, not even Eddie's doing that, and he's first billed, man. Why? You have to know what kind of movie you're in, don't you?
Yeah. How did he get first billing over Jeff Goldblum? Because this is Jeff Goldblum's movie. I know Eddie's the star.
No, it's a Jeff. If it weren't Eddie, you'd probably have Jeff Goldblum be billed first because he's the main character.
But the thing is, with the exception of like the Beverly Hills Cop movies, Jeff Goldblum was just in Jurassic fucking Park and Independence Day. So his movies have grossed way more than Eddie's, especially in the 90s. Jeff Goldblum is the way bigger star, with the exception of like Nutty Professor.
Well, but that's the thing, right? The Nutty Professor has just come out. Independence Day, nobody knows that's going to be big yet.
96, huge.
98, Independence Day, isn't it?
No, 96, baby.
Oh, wow. That movie's old.
Same year as Nutty Professor.
Well, then I buy your argument more.
And the year before, Jeff Goldblum was in The Lost World, where he is the star of that movie. I know it's terrible, but he is the star of that movie, and that movie made so much fucking money. Goldblum is like doing circles around Eddie in the 90s.
Eddie's got
bullshit.
It probably is a contract thing. Eddie's like, I'm not doing it unless I'm first billed.
Absolutely it is, but it's bullshit.
And Jeff Goldblum's like, yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah, and they'll probably say, oh, well, Will Smith was the star of Independence Day, and I'm like,
I mean, I think
like
that
co-stars.
I feel like though that's what it like became. It maybe wasn't marketed that way, but that was very much how the movie-going public took it in 1996. It's really not 1998. Why did I think it was 1998?
What did? What are you talking about?
I really thought Independence Day was 1998. I'm sort of surprised at myself. Well, we'll hammer that out when we do the Will Smith season at some point, I guess.
Oh, wow. The Will Smith season. Ugh.
Yeah, we'll just open up that season, big old slap sound effect, then go right into the opening music.
Will Smith season. I mean, I think there's bigger highs than the Eddies. Yeah. For me, at least. Okay. But there's also some real lows.
Well, that's why people come to our podcast, Joe. Our highest rated episodes are always the worst movies.
Wow. Wild.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
The Ant Bully.
The Ant Bully. Yep. Planet 51, oddly popular for a movie I don't think most people have heard of.
Yeah, why?
It's just people want to hear us suffer.
The Rock plays a white man in that movie. It's so weird.
Damn, Rock always culturally appropriating. If son of a bitch.
I can't imagine that would have been that could have just been a quick fix. I don't know. Weird. Anyways, let me read you this. This is a featured review on IMDb that was written by Renary Boys on December 18th, 2000.
So reputable. On IMDb? That was around that long?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The internet was around that long? Wow.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
I can watch this film over and over again and still laugh. A brilliant film with loads of excellent one-liners to titillate. Eddie Murphy plays a fab part as G. You're never quite sure if he is as innocent as he makes out. Is he a fraud or not? Jeff Goldblum is also excellent as Robert Rickey, the cynical shopping channel executive. Watching how conformists react to an alternative lifestyle provides many laughs. Watch out for the urinade scene.
I'm watching.
Watch out for it.
You're in a splash zone.
It's the one scene that's like, this is remotely funny. Like it's trying for a laugh. Every time this film is on, I find myself settling down to watch just a few minutes. Then, of course, I end up watching it all.
Is it like he's implying it's shown on TV ever at any time?
Yeah, he's like, this is a regular on TNT, right? I have a feeling it has already joined Wayne's World as one of those films where you lie and wait for your favorite scenes, then recite them. Definitely well worth watching, especially if you have a quirky sense of humor. Fab? Is that a 2000s thing? Fab?
I believe it is an abbreviation of the word fabulous.
Of course, I know that, but like, there's no like slang for like, what's is that a slang word in 2000? Hey, this is fab. Sounds like kind of like 50s.
I don't think so. 50s.
50s or 60s, baby.
No, like they were more clever in their slang words. I think abbreviating words to be slang is a much more recent thing.
All right.
That would be my old man view of things.
Billy Madison's on Hulu, by the way, which means it's on Disney Plus. So I got to see Adam Sandler on my Disney Plus screen yesterday, which was cool.
Okay. Unrelated to what we're doing.
Unrelated,
right now.
But we know we're always a Sandler podcast.
The
so.
fraud thing that he brought up in that review, that they brought up, I don't know the gender of Granary bros, but is a direction I thought we were going to go for a while. And then that like lady comes forward and she's like, he abandoned me and my children. And I go, all right, that's not the most interesting thing, but that's fine. And then somehow they made it even less interesting when immediately she's like, oh, you know what? I feel bad, actually. I'm lying, everybody.
In the middle of it.
Yeah, I'm actually lying. We decided we didn't want to do this storyline anymore in a rewrite, so the writer had to come in and make me say these things all in one big scene, and you never have to see me again. Don't worry. It's as if I was never here. And it's a good way to get Will from Will and Grace out of here. It actually was odd. I'm like... the woman's like, I didn't know until I saw this poster where it happened to my husband. Don't worry, he's not really her husband. But I was thinking, why did Will from Will and Grace need to make all these wanted posters of Eddie when he's on every magazine cover in America? He's probably the most famous person at the time. If somebody knows him, they're gonna realize who it is. Like, you don't need to put out this extra campaign. You want to know how this movie's old, Joe?
Tell me.
Well, obviously, there are many home shopping networks, and those largely seem to have gone away in favor of these, long, 5-minute long commercials on the Old People channel that I get that are basically the same thing. But also, people are selling laser discs.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
TV Guide is a little booklet. Not a magazine shape, it's a tiny, thick book. Those were the days. Cell phones are only for douchey business people, and they flip.
They're starting to do that again.
Yeah,
they fold now.
I would say they fold, not flip. Different, but technical. And Betty White is only 67 years old.
Wow. She made it a long way, didn't she?
She sure did. It's like the directing wasn't bad. There was actually a lot of well-directed scenes. Including like right after Jeff Goldblum gets Eddie to sign the contract and he feels super guilty because he's basically just sold Eddie out for his own career. We do this transition where like we pull out and now we're like on the other side of these glass windows and we're kind of like watching him move it. So we get this distance from his celebration. We get this kind of like out of body feel from him. We get kind of like this feeling, I don't know, like it felt very forlorn. Like even though he's achieved what he wanted, we got a sense that he wasn't even that present enough to enjoy it. He wasn't in that moment. There were a lot of smart things, but it's a comedy, it seems, and you didn't often direct it as if it were a comedy. The movie was like overly structured, or it was structured just for the sake of structure, like the early-ish to mid-90s where Hollywood execs were kind of figuring out like, all right, these are the rules for story structure. That's when like the Vogler memo went out throughout Disney and started spreading out through Hollywood, which is like, this is the structure of how you do it. And on page 90, this has to happen. And on page 70, this has to happen. And it felt like a lot of that was in here. And so maybe it had a message that got kind of like put through the structure meat grinder and it got very dislocated or disjointed in the process. And it became a lot less believable. I don't know. There was an opportunity for this to be okay. And somewhere along the line, a lot of people screwed it up. And by the way, the big climax is like, Eddie's going to get his own show. We're going to put him in prime time on the shopping network. But in my mind, I go, prime time's like the worst time for a shopping network to have a big show.
Weird.
That's when nobody's watching you because they're watching real TV. Your prime time's probably like 11 a.m. in the morning.
That's The Price is Right.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't want to do that.
Don't compete with Drew.
You know, well, it wasn't Drew at the time. It was Bob Barker.
It was still Bob. His days were numbered at that point, though. Only 8 more years.
Drew was still on TV on his own show. Which brings us to this week's Drew Watch.
Moon over Parma, bring my love to me tonight. Guide her to East Lake.
What a segue.
What music got kicked out of the show on Plex, the great streaming app Plex? Well, there's an opening bit where Oswald and Kate are dating each other, and Oswald and Lewis obviously are sort of codependent best friends. So Kate's all getting jealous that Lewis is way too involved in their life, and Oswald talks to the crowd of people. He goes, it's okay for your friend to sometimes cut your hair, and also, it's okay when your friend sings your song when you're feeling blue. And everybody's like, well, that's a step too far, the singing the song thing. So then Kate and a bunch of people storm out. Oswald's feeling sad about it, but then Lewis comes over and sings the Annie song, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. And it goes on for like a minute because he starts singing it, and then Drew comes over and starts singing it, and then a bunch of extras kind of come, and they all start singing it. And then they would go to the theme song. Well, they just kind of cut that out. Everybody storms out, and then immediately they cut. It's not there anymore. Okay, makes sense. You lose a bit of joke moment there, but structurally you're not missing all that much. And then in another episode, Drew's engaged to this woman, and he meets her parents, and he accidentally gets his parents to want to divorce each other, gets her parents to want to divorce each other. So now Drew has to spend the episode trying to get the father to go back with the mother. But the father wants to go out cruising for chicks. So Drew has to, they do a montage, and they put, this, jazzy bebop song, but now they've replaced it with this different rock song thing. And of all the musical substitutes, this one felt the cleanest. It didn't feel out of place. It still worked with the way the montage was edited. I don't know if it was luck or whatever, but it ended up working out just fine. And since we're off topic, we also have a little bit of football around the world. Football around the world.
Hey.
Well, Joe, as you know, the Super Bowl is coming up.
This weekend.
And where do you think you're going to be watching the Super Bowl, Joe?
I will not be watching the Super Bowl.
Oh, well, if you were, though...
Yeah, if I was,
where would you like to watch it? What did that? You said the best streaming service ever? Tubi? Because you can, my friend.
Wow. I feel like we did it.
Tubi, you are welcome. The Super Bowl's this weekend?
It's this Sunday,
well,
right?
our episode doesn't matter anymore. Right, they're gonna be like, oh wow, I can watch it on Tubi. I heard about it 5 hours after the Super Bowl ended. That sucks. I missed it. I didn't know I could watch it there. Tubi.
That's funny.
Good work. I don't know how. I legitimately don't know how Tubi swung that. Tubi, you have Super Bowl money? Oh, what?
I just feel like they're trying to get anyone to watch it on anything they can. So they're like, this is a rating, so we'll allow it. And so if they can get the biggest rating of all time, that's all
maybe.
we want.
But you could get some other streaming service to pay you so much more, I imagine, right?
Yeah, but Tubi's free, so more people have access to it. And so they just want, like I said, numbers. It's all about numbers now.
I don't know. I feel like, but the reason for the numbers are about the money. So if a streaming service that's not going to publicize your numbers anyway.
Yeah, but you still get your ads, so you're getting something.
Oh, so maybe that's what it is. The other streaming services don't put ads out or don't want to put ads. I guess Netflix does that now for your wrestling thing.
Yeah, and they also did it for they did a Super Bowl, or not a Super Bowl, like a football game on Christmas, right?
On Tubi?
No, on Netflix.
Oh, I don't remember that. I know Amazon was having half of the Thursday night footballs for a while. They were sharing them with CBS.
That's been going on.
I don't know. What a great coup for Tubi. I've been a big supporter of Tubi.
Absolutely.
Feels like Tubi the last couple of years has been growing in popularity. Thanks to the greed and overindulgence of other streaming services. Well done, Netflix. Thank you.
Thanks, Netflix.
Maybe you didn't need to waste all that money on Red Notice, but here we are.
And Amazon, maybe you didn't have to waste all that money on Red One. Who's next?
Yeah, who are we taking down next? Who are we taking down? I'll tell you who we're taking down. Amelia Perez.
Hell yeah.
Have you heard all this info going on? This maelstrom of...
It's just... You know, it's just unfortunate. The whole thing. It just all sucks. The movie's not good. No one wants to, like, no one, like, critically is, like, saying, hey, this is a great movie. You gotta check this out. No one on the, like, online film community is like, oh, this is great. This is great. I don't know who's fucking liking this movie.
Well, so...
It's weird. And it got the most nominations. It has, like, the most nominations. Like, it's, like what? Like, All About Eve? It's fucking crazy!
An article came across my way from Yahoo Entertainment, The Wrap, from Sharon Waxman, came out on February 3rd, which at the time of recording is yesterday. The article is, with Emilia Perez's Oscar campaign in crisis, the Hollywood finger-pointing has begun. And the article is largely about some racist tweets from the main lady of the movie, who I guess I wouldn't call her the lead star, right? Zoe Saldana feels like the lead star.
Yeah, it's...
But for publicity or for politicking, they switched them for whatever whatever vague reason they gave. I don't know. Anyway, I won't read the whole thing because it is sort of a long article, and I don't want to repeat some of the tweets that she said. And there also was like a metaphor of like her Oscar hopes incinerated like a wildfire, and I'm like, that seems like the wrong time to bring up that metaphor. But in there, the middle of it, it was like some unnamed source said, I don't know who would want to smear that movie. I haven't met any person in the Academy that even likes it. So there was no chance it was going to win. To which I thought, why are all you people coming out now and saying no one likes this movie? Fucking 13 nominations implied a very fair amount of you did. And perhaps now you're all feeling kind of stupid for it. And all trying to be like, wasn't me. Bullshit. I call you on your bullshit. I bet this movie would have done gangbusters, you dummies, had not all this negative press come out to make it awkward for you to vote for it again. Whatever. That sort of, like, everybody walking back suddenly now when it was convenient was sort of annoying to me. Aside from the, I'm not condoning anything that she's saying, but I am saying it's sort of terrified when anything from our past can come and ruin our future. And everybody's like, they should have vetted her before she was even cast in the role, and Netflix should have vetted it before they were even acquired. And I go like, holy shit, we're down a wormhole. Really what this is a great lesson in nobody post anything ever.
Yeah, delete your tweets.
Don't ever, it can only hurt you. It can never help you. You just do not benefit from putting any of your thoughts or opinions out there in the ether. And I have said this for a long time, but now apparently I'm right. Don't do it. You have no benefit. Whatever high you get from the couple of likes that you get won't be fun in 10 years when everybody's doxa and morality shifted. Again, what she said was wrong at the time she said it, and it wasn't actually all that long ago. But in the grander scheme, this is kind of the world we're in now, where just like, keep your thoughts to yourself, everybody.
Yeah, especially if they're mean and hateful.
Yes, definitely then. Some of the tweets that were quoted in the article were almost cartoonish in their racism. They weren't even like veiled. They were quite blatant. And I thought, who is this for?
She also tried to do like damage control and went on like 60 Minutes and did an interview like last week.
I saw there was an hour-long interview. My God, that must have been so boring. An hour? What are you going to talk about for an hour?
I have no idea.
An hour? Jesus. A legitimate 60-minute interview on 60 Minutes.
I don't understand.
But the good news is, it sounds like we don't have to deal with a lot of Emilia Perez sweeping anything. So that's good news for The Brutalist. Mm-hmm. The article also claims it's good news for Wicked, which sort of annoys the shit out of me, but whatever.
No.
They're like other top contenders, like The Brutalist, I went, okay. They go Conclave, I went, oh, okay. And then The Wicked, and I go, no, come on. What are you, Wicked? Get that out of here. Not a mention of Nickel Boys anywhere near the article.
Poor Nickel Boys.
Okay. Back to Holy Man.
Holy Man.
For Eddie Murphy, this is another in a long string of or how do I want to phrase this? Right, the Nutty Professor did well, Dr. Dolittle did well, and then he did this weird movie, didn't do very well.
Mulan did well. So his family-friendly comedy films continued to surge in the 90s, and his adult comedies and his weird dramas that I think some people thought were comedies, they're all doing very poorly. And this feels like the kind of the final nail in the coffin of all of that.
I don't know what's coming down the horizon.
Well, I feel like Nutty Professor wasn't super family friendly. It's very horny.
I don't know if that feels like it. I bet it was that. Is that a PG movie?
It's a PG-13, but it's like the whole movie's about him wanting to fuck the Miss Purdy, right?
Well, but it's the bad guy who wants to F her, but the Nutty Professor just wants to cuddle her.
Yeah. Oh,
so
Mr.
it's family friendly because we learned horniness is the real villain of the film. So I could see Eddie being like, all right, I'm done with that crap now. I've got to move on. Clearly it's not working. His agents are probably like, don't stop doing this, Eddie. This is where your money is. This is what's saving your career.
Follow the money,
In the
Eddie.
mid-2000s, he does come out a lot and says, well, I wanted to do films for my children. When everybody's like, why did you do Haunted Mansion? Well, I wanted to do films my kids could watch. Why did you do this crappy movie? Well, I wanted to do films my kids could watch. I'm sure that's in there, but I bet the real reason is that the movies that his kids couldn't watch just weren't making money anymore.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they just were not doing very well. It was hurting his credibility. This is where David Spade gets to make his falling star joke on SNL that pissed Eddie off for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that was part of why he stayed away from the show for so long.
David Spade.
It was really a throwaway joke too. It was like one of his Weekend Update-ish kind of things. It just like picture of Eddie came up. David Spade said, okay, kids, look, a falling star. And then immediately moved on to the next joke. It's just like in and out. But also I think Eddie's police thing might have been happening around this time as well. Mm-hmm. Probably another reason to try to rebrand as family-friendly guy so that you could kind of sweep that under the rug as part of his image. I want to say, like, Joe, do you remember Eddie doing any drama or adult comedies in the wake of this? But we didn't know this happened after whatever Metro. He could have signed on to this just as Nutty Professor was coming out, or Nutty Professor had like just come out, but like he had already signed on to this, so it was too late. So I think we're just chronologically, I would be surprised if we saw a lot of these in the near future. Maybe as he gets older and his kids gets older, he's willing to dip his toes back in. But Eddie also kind of seems like someone that likes playing it safe.
What's in the future for Eddie? You know what? I just realized 1999 is around the corner for Eddie. We have got two very interesting movies for Eddie.
Okay.
One movie I've seen and one movie I haven't, but I've been wanting to see.
Well, we're going to get to that soon then. Now, that's my prediction for now, but we'll see how that holds up whenever we get to those movies. All right, you got any last looks on Holy Man?
I would say, Eddie, I don't know, maybe it's time to visit Daddy Daycare.
I just can't imagine Daddy Daycare is a thing.
Why didn't you show up for Daddy Day Camp, Eddie?
Am I going to show up for Daddy Daycare and all of a sudden I'm going to be like, man, way better than Holy Man. Woo, thank God you started doing these, Eddie.
I mean, I know there's actual jokes in Daddy Daycare, so... And that's only a couple years away. That's like 3 years away.
I liked the idea behind this movie. I thought Eddie was giving a very charming performance. Does Ebert have anything to say about this film? Can we squeeze that one in here during Last Looks?
Roger, Roger, Roger. Roger, 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 Roger. R-O-G-E-R. R-O-G-E-R.
I want to know if he's like, terrible movie, Eddie's great. Jeff Goldblum's giving more effort than is needed.
Roger Ebert for the Chicago Sun-Times gave it 2 out of 4 stars, calling Murphy's character an uninteresting enigma. And criticizing the film for being too credulous and missing opportunities for satire.
Very true. I agree with you there, Eddie. Not Eddie. Ebert, another E guy. A movie that apparently was so bad, Eddie Murphy said, all right, I'm tired of producing my movies. Clearly I'm bad at it. Clearly I can't find good movies to make.
Yeah, it made 27 worldwide, but in America it made 12 million off a $60 million budget.
For a movie
also,
with Eddie Murphy.
Does this need a $60 million budget? Even like 40 million would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Where is the money going?
Yeah, you are largely in 2 sets.
You give Goldblum like 5 million.
Yeah.
You give Eddie his 15 or 20, whatever.
Like
I'm still seeing like a lot of money on the table here, and I'm like,
Robert Lowe's just like, you better pay me. You better pay me, or I'm taking Lost Highway instead.
No, this is a favor. This is a favor, and also he already did Lost Highway.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
He already got 2 thumbs down on the poster, and it was promoted like that.
All right. Why does Eddie Murphy do this movie? Well, yeah, my only guess is they paid him a shit ton. If he's going around doing his "This Movie Sucked" tour 20 years later, that screams a movie where they paid him too much money to say no. So maybe it wasn't $15 million, Joe. Maybe he got closer to Jim Carrey money.
20.
You know, I guess that's a thing to think about when we kind of compare the two actors in their career. Is Eddie certainly had the hotter start, but I don't think he was ever the highest paid actor in Hollywood, was he?
I'm not sure.
So, like, those numbers haven't borne out yet.
Also, his movies aren't making any money anymore, with the exception of like his like family ones. So every time he goes to like make a more adult-centric movie, it's just bombs.
Yeah, it worked in the 80s. Looking back, like Jim Carrey kind of found his lane. He's like goofy comedy guy. Boom, done. It's working. Eddie was he was doing these dramas, he was doing these action films, he was doing these blends, he did the weird horror thing. Like, he was sort of trying to do a lot of different things. And yet the thing we remember most about him as a society is his comedies, which came relatively late in his career.
Yeah.
We're like 18, 17 movies in on his career. It took him maybe 15 to kind of find the thing we all think of him as doing. Very interesting. And yet, an extremely wealthy man, so clearly he still has made a lot of right decisions.
Well, he was making them with his own company.
Even though most of them bombed, which is a good reason to shut down Eddie Murphy Productions in my mind. So not looking great for Eddie. Jim's still towering high above him in our boxing match between the two. But the decade is almost over, a new millennium is approaching, and a lot of things are likely to change.
How is Eddie going to fuck it up this time?
To thank our sponsors, AAR.
Oh, yeah, he does it because he has Shrek. I forgot.
I to thank I was teasing it, Joe.
Yeah, but, like, do you know all the bullshit that becomes in between Shrek?
I don't.
Well, you're going to find out soon.
I felt like we're right here at the end. We can't be that much more.
No, there's so much bullshit.
All right. Save that for
I feel like we're gonna see his Battlefield Earth. I've never seen the movie, but I feel like we're gonna.
All right, I don't know. We're gonna get there when we get there.
Do you even know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay, good.
All right. I'm here. I'm back. We're to it. I'm thanking our sponsor, AAR P. Are you in need of some Elder P? Well, you're in luck. I'd like to thank Lev Van Rensselaer for minding those audio boards and keeping the sound so slippery smooth. I'd like to thank my co-host Joe Beckman for stopping by.
Yeah, hi.
And I am your host, Patrick Scale. You can find my features, documentaries, short films, video essays, animations, behind-the-scenes footage, and so much more at QuixoticUnited.com and social media, presumably, with a similar sounding name. Thank you all for listening. Joe, say goodnight.
It's my urine in there.
There's a rest stop. Let's hit the G-spot. Loving it. Almost to a breakdown. Anybody wanna leave town? There's the G-spot. Pull the car over. Ultraviolet.
Joe, I saw the Kristen Stewart movie.
Yeah, me too.
What was that summary you had?
For the
summary, you said that you couldn't figure it out. I was interested as I was watching it. I go, what could that summary be?
In a story that spans billions of years, a buoy and a satellite meet online long after humanity's extinction. As they learn what life was like on Earth, they discover themselves and what it means to be alive and in love. You know what? That's exactly what happens in that movie.
Very accurate, yes.
Yes.
I went to Shinji and I was like, hey, listen, I just saw a movie where a satellite and a buoy fell in love by sharing internet memes with each other.
It's true.
And you know what? I loved it.
Of course you did.
What another great example of me not knowing anything about a movie when I go to see it, working out perfectly well.
Let me tell you something. I, too, had no idea really what this movie was about, except for that little, like summary. But I read, the first, sentence. I didn't read the rest of it. And I'm like, huh. And I'm like, but I see the poster, and I'm like, huh.
Yeah, yes. So I get in, and there's like that eye thing, and I go, all right, is she like in there? Is Kristen Stewart like a naval
I was like,
lady?
is that her voice?
Yeah.
Another thing that got me was that when I sat down in the theater alone, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And it was like opening weekend. It was a Saturday like morning, and I was like, yeah, even though the theater was like packed with like everybody else was like, there's a bunch of people in the theater, like other theaters. And then like 5 minutes before the movie started, this like over 65 couple comes in and sits down like all the way like towards the aisle. And I'm like, okay. And me still not knowing anything about the movie. And then the movie starts. I'm like, huh. And then the crude animation starts, and I'm like, huh. I looked over at the older couple. I'm like, they're sticking it out. So I mean,
and I like that old couple in my theater during the farting corpse movie. What was that one called?
Oh yeah, Swiss Army
Swiss
Man.
Army Man. They got out 20 minutes in. Bye. Not surprised. See you later.
Well, at the end of the movie, all I could hear was a huh. And I'm like, I didn't pay for it. It was part of my like ticket plan thing. So I'm like, but like, I don't think they had that option. I think they paid $16 each to sit down and watch that movie.
There are senior discounts. They're going in the morning.
Oh yeah, $14. The other thing is the movie starts with like a million like people that like sponsor the movie, plus the Kickstarter information for the movie. I'm like, oh, it's one of those.
Yes.
I think it was a husband and wife duo, or at least a couple duo.
It definitely. I thought they might have been brothers. It looked like two male names, but
Oh, I think it's a
could be gender
man
neutral.
and a woman.
I don't know.
I'll double check for
No
you.
judgments. Maybe it's two gay dudes. I'm not gonna judge.
Andrew and Sam. Oh, but no, it is. It's a couple
Yeah.
because on their Letterboxd picture,
Yeah.
the man, you can see the man. Okay, right?
Yeah. I
See how his
dude.
picture is a little bit cut off?
Yeah.
Well, if you go to the woman's,
Yeah.
it's the other half of the picture. It's like, I get that they wouldn't want to like mix them up, but it's like you guys just took the same picture and cut it in half.
That's how you know they're in love, Joe.
Sure.
Those dorks.
I don't know what you gave it because you haven't. Did you do
I'm
log
gonna
it
give
yet?
it a 4, and I'm gonna give it a heart. I'm all
You
for that movie.
psychopath.
Love it.
You
I got
psycho.
exactly what I wanted from a movie I didn't know what I was getting.
I gave that movie 2.5 generous stars
Ah,
because
you.
wow, was it short? And I was like, this is too long. I just thought the part where it was like the crude animation where it's like I get why it was animated, but I'm like, this is going on so fucking long. And I was bored, frustrated as much as Steven Yeun's character was. I was like, can we shorten this? Like, this is going on so long. And like I get the point of it, but I'm like, more succinct, please. This has been a perfect like 40 minute short.
I'm on the right. I don't know. Like maybe this is the magic of Kristen Stewart, whom I love and have had.
No, that was
no
what got me through it.
reservations. But if she like. I'm just like, yeah, I'll watch you be a buoy. I thought I was just getting a buoy and a satellite for 90 minutes. I won't lie.
Me too.
And
but
I was going to be
like,
yep, I'm fine with that. Bring it, Kristen. I've never cared for a buoy so much in my life.
I just, yeah.
And then we just
No,
got more.
I
It just got more and more, and all these different things. And sure, maybe the metaphor of it is the most subtle thing, but like, I don't care. I was on it.
Yeah.
I was having fun. Kristen Stewart's bringing her A game to her buoy
4
role.
stars, huh? Wow.
4 stars.
One of a kind.
First great movie of the year. Probably make
Wow.
the top 10 list at the end of it.
Holy shit.
I just really like this movie.
I thought it was fine.
I
I thought
loved
it was
it.
a little like
Loved it.
full of itself.
This movie that nobody will ever watch.
Well, except for me and that old couple and you.
Yeah, that's it. Like there were 3 other people in it, and I go like, well, you know, here's the deal. I gotta go and watch this Fig movie. That's 3 hours. I gotta go and watch that Brazilian movie. That might as well be 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to go to the movies all the time. These are gonna take up most of my days. But then I look at this movie's out, and I go, oh, maybe I can wait till next week to watch that. But it only had 3 showtimes at my theater, where they give 1 million showtimes to every movie when it comes out. And I go, that's not a good sign.
Well, this movie weirdly had like 4 or 5 showtimes.
Yeah.
It has 0 now.
Yeah. So I'm like, this feels like something I got to get in now if I'm going to get it in at all.
I just want to say, a few of the Letterboxd reviews I'm seeing right now are saying Wall-E, except they fuck, and Freaky Wall-E.
Yeah, that was my first joke. Yeah, it's kind of like finally Disney's nailed one of its live-action remakes. Good work. But then I was like, you know what? It actually feels like a live-action Don Hertzfeldt sort of thing.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm into that, too.
What about this? This film logically does not make sense. Why is Stephen Yeun trying to discover water? But it does work emotionally, I think. Another review. If influencers are the number one thing that stand out about Earth, we disturb...
Here's the thing. How did humanity make something that could survive 5 billion years? We don't make something that can survive 20. We're lucky when our cars can last for 10 years. A 5 billion year smart buoy. That's where they're not going to begin their planned obsolescence. That's where you want to draw the line, people. And if you're not willing to do that, just go for the ride. If Kristen Stewart can make me believe that she has never, ever tasted water before, I'm in. Perfect actress. Top actress of our time.
That's a good point. If influencers are the number one thing that stand out about Earth, we deserve extinction. Well,
that's true. That seemed to also be part of the commentary of the movie. Here's all of humanity's history. No history's ever researched. Just memes.
Probably the exact definition of a what the hell, sure movie. Here, last one. Creative, flat, nonsensical, ridiculous, short, tedious, uncompelling, uneven, well cast. I'm giving that one a like.
All right, I see this is another hill for me to die on. So it shall be.
Well, no, I definitely like this one way more than Skinamarink. So.
Yeah. What was my hill to die on movie of 2024? I must have one.
I don't know.
What film did I go? Fortunately, everybody loved Godzilla -1. Did everybody like May December?
I loved May December.
What are my top films of that? Oh no, that was the year before then. That was the Skinamarink year, wasn't it? What the hell came out last year?
I'm looking for you right now. I'm going to go through your whole thing. What is your hill to die on?
What was my hill to die on?
Well, I still want to see Bird.
Ooh, I don't think I have to die on that hill. That movie legitimately good.
No, yeah, I want to see that.
Everybody liked Flow.
Maybe this Outwaters movie that you rewatched.
Yeah, but that movie came out in 2023 too.
Okay. Give a lot of stars to that.
Yeah, I'm looking at my short list of my top 10 films that I'm planning.
What about this shitty movie called, like, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre? 4 stars.
Movie's going nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a franchise or anything. You weirdly watched so many Ronald McDonald. I'm just kidding.
I watched what? What did I watch a lot of?
The Ronald McDonald.
Oh, yeah. But those films didn't come out that year. Can I search?
Yeah,
search
you can look
by
at
year?
2024.
Yeah, there we go. Look at me. I'm smart. I'm figuring it out.
Aggro Drift.
Oh, I'd be fine dying on that hill.
The Skinamarink of action films.
It sounds indeed like I did die on that hill.
That was pointed at me, though. You're like, yeah. Yeah, let's go with that one.
Okay, I'm looking. Oh, I did see Jurassic Triangle, though, but I only gave it a half a star.
So, yeah, Holy Man. Let's get to Holy Man.
Yeah, I guess it is going to be Aggro Drift. I just looked through the 2024 films, of which I actually did not see a lot. Mean Girls, I remember that. I like that most of my 2024 films I actually saw in 2025.
What?
All right, Holy Man, let me drink the water.